This is Hemet.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. Please go to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast to support this show, get ad-free episodes and bonus episodes, Discord server, Facebook page.
group.
It's all good.
Yeah.
We have many things to discuss, many audio clips that will cause me nightmares.
I'm not excited about that. Anytime Hemet says, you'll need headphones today, I know it's going to be a rough one.
It's going to be a rough one, but...
Ask me how I'm doing.
How are you doing?
Oh my God, so fucking bad you can't even believe it. Somehow this that we're living right now, I think might be the worst week of my entire life.
Congratulations.
My husband did not get a job that was keeping us on hold for 9 business days and broke his elbow, and our garage door is broken. And so everything that you could think of that's bad is happening to me. Have I mentioned I have carpal tunnel? I have carpal tunnel from my barn work. So
patreon.com/Friendly Atheist
you guys,
Podcast.
I want to be very clear about something. Were it not for this podcast, I am not doing a bit. This is absolute deadly serious. Were it not for this podcast, I think I would have had to move in my mother-in-law's house by now. Like, I genuinely think this is the only thing that is keeping us in our home.
I'm glad my traumatizing you every week
is
what's keeping you.
I mean, it's wild because I work much harder at my other jobs, but this one makes me the most money. So, I don't know, patreon.com, or I don't know, if you just want to come bring me a bottle of wine, I'd appreciate that. Shit's bad. Okay, go ahead, Hammett. Let's hear it. Cheer me up.
Oh, yeah, cheer you up. Let me take you to West Virginia.
Mountain Mama.
Where all good things happen. Mm-hmm. So there's a lawmaker in West Virginia who they're currently trying to pass a bill that would force all public schools to play anti-abortion propaganda regarding child development.
What?
In grade 8. It's not just anti-abortion propaganda. Specifically, the bill says students would have to watch a video called Meet Baby Olivia.
Oh, no.
Baby Olivia is not actually a baby.
Oh, you don't say.
Uh-huh. It's a video produced by the anti-abortion group Live Action. And I'll tell you...
Okay, wait, stop. Everybody. Really good. Terrible organization. Outstanding name.
Really?
Yeah, Live Action, because they're pro-life and it's action, but it doesn't necessarily bring to mind. It's a great name.
Sure.
Again, evil organization, but you gotta give props where they're due. The Republicans are not good at marketing or art or music or anything like this. Once in a while, they get it.
I don't know if I want to give Live Action credit for the name. I don't even love the name.
Evil organization. Clever name.
Okay.
You have to give it up.
So early in the video, it's a 3-minute video, and the law, if passed, would say, yeah, you got to play this 3-minute video for the kiddies. And early
listen to this video?
Nope, you're not going to. I'll summarize the video for you. I'm not playing 3 minutes of propaganda. But early in the video, after you see the sperm, AI sperm fertilizing an egg, the narrator says, "This is the moment that life begins."
And everybody can really relate to a four-celled organism. They're like, oh, that's me. Oh, my God.
It looks just like me, right?
He has my dad's second cell.
Yes. And it also refers to stages of development using a made-up term called blank weeks after fertilization.
Oh, that's not how they count it.
That is not how they count it. They count it after the last menstrual cycle, and by they, I mean people who know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. By saying weeks after fertilization, that actually moves up the dates by 2 weeks when everything happens, which is kind of the point.
Oh, so instead of something happens at 8 weeks, it happens at 6 weeks,
right.
Which sounds so much...
Oh, we need to have a abortion ban at 2 minutes or whatever they say now. So that's another problem with the video. The narrator in the video also refers to a fetal heartbeat, even though at 6 weeks, when they mention that, it is neither a fetus nor does it have a heartbeat because it doesn't have a heart.
Yep.
So that's the problem. That's the direct problem with this video. Mm-hmm. According to the law that is being presented, beginning next school year, each public school, including charter schools, shall incorporate a human growth and development discussion into its curriculum in grades 3, 5, and 8. And that discussion must include a high-definition ultrasound video at least 3 minutes in duration showing the development of the brain, heart, sex organs, and other vital organs in early fetal development.
Oh my God. Imagine if they saw sex organs
I
and
know.
they were hermaphroditic. What would they do?
And number 2, the Meet Baby Olivia video developed by Live Action. They have to show that one. Maybe it covers number 1, but
That
also
sounds like small government, yeah, for sure. Dictating one specific YouTube video for your schools to watch definitely sounds like small government.
So the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, a professional organization.
These poor fucking people right now.
Oh my God. With over 60,000 members, this is the professional group for all OB-GYNs. They said in an email that to a local reporter, this video is anti-abortion misinformation, quote, designed to manipulate the emotions of viewers. And Iowa physicians and educators said in a letter to state lawmakers that by using weeks after fertilization, the video misleads viewers because the framing indicates that milestones happen about 2 weeks earlier than is accurate. Okay, so this week, this bill was being debated in the West Virginia legislature in the state Senate when one guy, his name is Mike Azinger, he stood up during the floor debate. He's a Republican state senator. He stands up and he has some things to say about Senate Bill 468 because he wants you to know why he supports this bill. Okay, first, there was a Democrat, one of like the 3 Democrats in the state of West Virginia. One of those Democrats pointed out that this actually, like, imagine if you're a Democrat in West Virginia, you were wildly outnumbered in the legislature.
I'm imagining I'm Sydney McElroy. Go ahead.
Sure.
My life is good in this scenario.
He's basically saying, hey, you know what? If I can't stop this bill from passing, what I can do is try to put up obstacles in the way. And one of the things is this violates religious freedom. Why? Because he says Jewish people don't believe life begins at conception, and by using public schools to teach kids otherwise, that amounts to religious discrimination, which is a fair point.
I'm not sure that Republicans have historically been worried about Jewish people being disenfranchised, if we're all being honest.
That,
this
they
feels
do
like
not care about what Jews
This
say.
feels like a not lucrative path to go down, but God bless.
Right. I mean, the Jewish people might disagree with you. They don't care about that. The religious freedom argument, maybe. Maybe if you said people in Israel don't like what you're doing, maybe Republicans would get on board.
That's pretty good burn.
Okay, so let me tell you the first thing Mike Azinger says in response.
And this is our Democrat friend.
No, the Democrat friend is spoken. He's done talking.
Oh, boy.
There are no more Democrats to speak now.
Oh, yay.
Now we got the Republicans saying, dude, come on. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to the Jews. Let me, a Baptist, speak on their behalf.
Sure.
Here's
King
Mike
of the
Azinger.
Jews, I think the Baptists, all right?
Here's Mike Azinger talking about that.
First of all, it's essentially an absurdity that all Jewish people believe that lifehood, for lack of a better term, begins at another time other than conception. Any Jew who believes the first 5 books of the Bible would, by definition, believe that life begins at conception, because Genesis 4:1, for one example, says, and Adam knew Eve, his wife,
like triple time?
and she conceived. There, right there.
Adam conceived.
Adam knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain. So, any Jew that believes the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible, I believe, would have to believe that.
Basically, his knowledge here
did
comes
he
down to saying Jews believe in the first 5 books of the Bible. That's your Torah right there. And in the Bible, it says Adam and his wife had sex and she conceived. Therefore, all Jews must believe that life begins at conception, which, first of all, is not even what the Bible verse said. And 2, they don't. He's basically saying, if you don't agree with me that life begins at conception, you must just be a bad Jew, is where he's going
Truly
with this.
a Baptist person trying to explain Judaism is just delicious.
Yeah. Like, and
so
he's going to give another
embarrassing.
speech. Like, let me tell you about what African Americans deal with
Of
every.
course. No, he's going to
all
come
the
back and be
time.
like, listen, I have a Jewish friend from college,
Mm-hmm.
and he's an accountant now, and we talk a lot, and he's real, and his name is Saul, and he told me
Yes.
all these things. I swear
Yeah.
it's real.
By the way, just to give you some numbers here, 83% of Jews support abortion rights in America, according to the Pew Research Center in 2018, and that's before Roe was overturned. So he's wrong to say he's an expert on Judaism or to suggest it. And he's absolutely wrong to say, I read the beginning of the Bible. I got through page 3.
Yeah.
And I can tell you what Jews think about this. So that's
just-
messed up. But that's not nearly as bad somehow as the next thing he said,
No.
which involves two things. And I'm going to, before you hear him, because he's going to take an hour to say this.
Yeah.
He's going to refer to two things. He's saying, we're allowed to teach this in the classroom as science because you know what else they teach in science class? That is clearly just...
is it evolution?
It is evolution. And the second thing is, I know conception is when life begins because I have proof of it. He's
Oh.
going to tell you what his proof is.
Oh, I can't wait.
All right, so here's Mike
He's going to
Azinger.
show me a little fertilized egg in the palm of his hand.
Yeah. Here's Mike Azinger, part 2, talking about why this bill is fine.
Let's hear it.
All of a sudden, we have a lot of senators who are all upset and worried about accuracies in science class.
Don't you hate
it was the
that?
senator from Taylor who mentioned that, hey, look, evolution's been taught in science class for how long now? And that's a quickly dying theory that many understand to be an absurdity in and of itself just because it can't pass the first test of first cause. So
The first
this
test
is
of first
a,
We'll talk about
cause.
It's a great bill.
Wait
So
for
great.
it. Wait for it.
Shows conception and
Wait for it.
Google it. At the very nanosecond of conception, there's a flash of light.
A flash of light.
When conception occurs in human beings, and I believe it's across the whole animal kingdom, at the second of conception, there's a flash of light. That's God telling us, I believe, that life begins there. Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, boy. All right, let's talk about
That's
it.
a lot. I'm just looking at West Virginia maternal mortality rate. Just really
Yeah.
quick for no specific reason.
That would be the graph that goes up and to the right. Yeah. So evolution is obviously not a quickly dying theory. It's not a slowly dying theory. It's not a dying theory in any place except the fever dreams of Ken Ham. The reason
That is
evolution is taught
truly
in
wild.
school is because the evidence fully supports it, not because it's some liberal religious belief and the reason they can have conservative religious beliefs taught in class or something like that.
Really quick, I'm on marchofdimes.org. They
Uh-huh.
get for their preterm birth grade is an F.
Oh, hey, they're moving up.
Their West Virginia infant death rate is 13.0 per 1,000 live births, and
And
the
it
U.S.
should be
rate
what?
is 10.4.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So-
13% higher. And it's going up. The preterm birth rate.
Yeah, it's not great. Even Mississippi
Yeah,
right now, as we
preterm
speak,
babies are going up. That's
even
not
Mississippi is trying to expand Medicaid, like getting federal funding for health, because even they know, we can't keep going down this road. So anyway, arguing that the promotion of anti-abortion propaganda belongs in science class because we teach evolution. Not only is that a bad analogy, the description of
I
evolution is
would
utterly inaccurate.
Want to hear what did he say?
Yeah, we'll get- Quickly dying theory.
What? The
Like, what circles
this is
do
the
you
first
have to be
time
in?
I have ever heard anything like that. I thought I'd kind of heard it all.
Oh, no, this
it's
is
quickly
standard
dying.
practice.
So this is the new thing. Not that it's established science. It's now in decline because
in decline and
because
it's-
his one friend Googled something and
Yes.
he's like Donald Trump. He's like, everybody's talking about this now because he
Yes.
heard of it for the first time.
And then they had one tear in their eye.
What
Yes.
ding dongs.
So, as for the second thing he said, no, there's no flash of light when sperm meets egg. So where is he
what the
getting this?
fuck is that
Where
all
is he getting
about?
that from? That myth is based on an actual 2016 paper that was published, I believe, in Nature. And basically, here's what they said. There were researchers who said when a sperm meets an egg, there is zinc that is released, which is true. That accompanies like egg activation. And in order to see that happening in the lab, what they did is, can we like put some chemicals in the zinc so that when it's moving around, we can kind of see where it's going? And they did that. It was coated with a special like chemical tag. And so scientists were able to illuminate its release at the moment of fertilization, which when they announced that, like we could see what the zinc is doing. And so when the sperm fertilizes the egg, this zinc is released. Look at our pictures. We got pictures of
I
this.
bet that's
it's really
cool.
And that led to a bunch of very ignorant and lazy writers, including like the University of these scientists, like the comms person, to say like there's a flash at conception, because you could see it in the pictures. There's no spark at conception. There's no flash. They were wrong. In fact, the best description I found of what's actually happening came from the National Catholic Register, which publishes a lot of BS. But they accurately describe this to say, you guys, that's not what's going on here. Here's what's from the National.
I mean, it's kind of cool looking.
It looks amazing. It's great science to document that. Here's what the National Catholic Register said. Researchers wanted to see the zinc, so they simulated fertilization in the lab and put the eggs in a solution containing a fluorescent tag. When the zinc is released, it is chemically labeled because this tag bonds to it. The tag can be illuminated with light of one color, and it emits light of a different specific color. That fluorescence can be detected under a suitable microscope, thus revealing the zinc. This is a scientific explanation in a way to say, yeah, we know what they actually did here. It's not God saying poof. It's actually saying, no, the scientists just did a thing to show you. Like sometimes you will see images of like the universe and they look glorious and color-filled. And it's like, do you think the universe is actually that color? It's not.
I think people
Those
do
are
think
colors that scientists use to show different wavelengths of different chemicals and stuff. And that's the color we see in the universe. It's not actually there.
It's like black holes don't actually look like purple buttholes, but that's just kind of what they do now.
But it looks pretty when we look at it. Right.
Like a beautiful purple butthole.
Yes. God is not sending us a sign of when life begins. And Mike Azinger, along with all the staffers who work for him, apparently, are too damn ignorant to look into any of this, and now they want to spread their ignorance to children. So that bill in the state Senate of West Virginia to play that misinformation 3-minute video, that passed on a 27-6 vote. It's now going to go to the GOP-dominated state House, which means public school students in West Virginia are now a step closer to being lied to in their classrooms in science class or health class, thanks to conservative lawmakers who want to replace science with religious propaganda. To answer your question, by the way, West Virginia is ranked 47th in the nation when it comes to education.
Oh, I didn't look into education.
They're really hoping to go down.
Yeah,
and get
they're
the number
working
one
on that.
Worst. They're really working toward that.
It's too bad. West Virginia has a very interesting and colorful history, and it sucks that coal really fucked up that entire region, huh?
It messed with their brains, apparently,
Well, I mean,
for the lawmakers. So.
Wow. Wait, at the beginning, I feel like maybe I hallucinated this. Did you say they have to watch it every day, or did you say every year?
No, they have to watch it every year in class, but it's mandatory, so public schools would have to show kids.
Okay, either you said every day or I heard every day, and
I don't know
the
what I
whole
said.
time I was like,
I'm just
this
in
is
and out,
insanity.
and then I forget what I said. Let's talk about.
Boy.
I'm gonna.
Can you imagine, like, West Virginia, they have so many problems. Is the problem that they have a low birth rate? I don't think it is.
I think they think the solution is solving brain drain, where all these kids who are at the top of their classes in high school are leaving to go to college somewhere else and then staying in other states and not coming back. The solution is if you make those kids even dumber, they won't know they get to leave.
Oh, no. That's pretty cynical, bud.
I try.
All right, what's next?
Next is something even worse.
Oh.
Let's talk about Oklahoma because no, you when I tell you the next sentence, you're going to feel real bad about yourself. So earlier this month, a 16-year-old non-binary student.
Oh, fuck, I heard about this story. God damn it. Why'd you let me sing?
You volunteered it yourself. Next
okay.
Benedict was their name.
This
They
poor
died
kid.
one day after being assaulted in an Owasso high school bathroom. The details specifically as to what happened are kind of still unclear,
Horrible.
but there is reason to believe it was an assault because they were non-binary.
Yeah,
but I think even the police account of it, the parent has said that doesn't make any sense, and the parent hasn't said. I'm not even going to get into that because
Okay.
I don't know what actually happened. But the child is
But
dead.
the school done fucked up.
Sure, yes. So one of the things is, what this does get to the heart of is there is an openly non-binary student who is dead. If I can't tell you the specific nature of how that happened, what I can tell you is that student's no longer with us.
Yeah.
And that should raise a lot of concerns in Oklahoma, which is famously, notably, anti-LGBTQ by and large. And so last Friday, there was like one of those local, we're going to bring some local politicians or your representatives to a legislative update so they can tell you what they're working on. The public can ask questions.
Is this
things
as
like
a
that.
reflection of
Nope.
the incident or just is
separate? It was
happening?
already on the schedule. It's promoted by a local chamber of commerce. So fine. So you have a lot of members of the public who are there to hear what's going on. And also to ask questions. And kudos to one lady, Kathy Cott, who was in the audience, and she asked, because these are 4 Republicans, because again, it's Oklahoma, you don't get a choice. She asked the 4 Republican members of the state legislature why they, quote, had such an obsession with the LGBTQ citizens of Oklahoma and what people do in their personal lives and how they raise their children.
Wow.
Very open-ended question. And listen, coming in the
Damn.
wake of the death of this child, of the alleged murder of this child, you heard some of those Republicans say, like, and I'm paraphrasing here, yeah, what happened there is awful. I don't want to see that happen. That has nothing to do with the anti-gay legislation I'm promoting.
Yeah, it's definitely unrelated.
Totally unrelated. But then they got to one last person, State Senator Tom Woods, who I'm going to play you what Tom Woods said at this meeting. Because the first sentence out of Tom Woods' mouth was fine, and then it just got worse from there, okay? So I want to repeat. 4 Republicans on stage. One of them's wearing a cowboy hat. I'm looking at this picture. I don't think it's him. There's another dude wearing a cowboy hat. And now we're getting to Tom Woods, who gets to answer
What's
why
his hat
he's
situation?
he's not wearing one. He has a big head.
Interesting.
He's going to answer why he's so obsessed with LGBTQ citizens
this.
of Oklahoma. You really are. All right. Let me play this. This is Tom Woods.
My heart goes out to that scenario if that is the case. But we represent
girl.
a constituency. We're a Republican state, supermajority in the House and Senate. I represent a constituency that doesn't want that filth in Oklahoma. We are a religious state. We are going to fight to keep that filth out of the state of Oklahoma because we're a Christian state. We're a moral state. We want lower taxes. We want people to be able to live and work and go to
That's
the
not
faith
Christian, I
they
heard.
choose. We are a Republican state. I'm going to vote my district. I'm going to vote my values, and we don't want that in the state of Oklahoma.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Big round of applause for that. So, just to repeat, he says, we're a Republican supermajority, and I represent people that don't want that filth in Oklahoma. What is he referring to by that filth? Is it the child who got murdered? Is it all LGBTQ people who exist?
Yes.
Yeah, like he didn't
That's what it
specify,
is.
but that is what it is.
It's-
And then he says, what's his defense for saying that? Supermajority, and also
Christian.
we're religious.
Yeah, we're Christian.
He says we're a Christian state. We are a moral state, as if those two things are equivalent.
They are not. And it is not.
He says we're going to fight to keep that filth out of the state of Oklahoma.
So fucking
What is
disgusting.
I mean, this is a fair question. What exactly is he trying to keep out of the state?
Queer people.
Because even if you go to churches, a lot of mega churches, non-denominational Southern Baptist churches, they will say, no, we don't have a problem with gay people. We have a problem
But
with
he
gay
does, and
actions.
so
But this
Oklahoma
guy,
does.
yeah, he's saying, no, we have a problem with their
He votes
very
his conscience.
existence.
His conscience is gay people are yucky, and therefore he is fine with a minor child being murdered in their school. And I want to be very clear, the school did not call the ambulance. They did not send this kid to the hospital before they died.
So to put
This school fucked up, and this man is a villain.
And the Christian lawmaker who represents this group, who fantasizes about living in a theocracy, apparently, claimed that his religious constituents don't like it when LGBTQ people are alive.
Do you remember in like 2014 when Putin said that there's no gay people in Russia? Does that sound familiar in any kind of way? Does that feel similar?
Yeah.
We don't have in Oklahoma. We're Christian and rural. There's no rural gay people. Are you out of your mind?
Now let me put on my cosplay hat here.
That man does not know the front end of a horse from the back. I will tell you that right goddamn now. Fuck these people. Jesus Christ. What is
like
it
him.
about people who get the smallest amount of power who want to do the most amount of bad? They're like Pinky in the Brain in real life. They get a little bit of power and the brain is like, well, I guess we're going to have to take over the world and make it to my liking. That's what these people are. They're cartoon
How democracy
mice.
works.
It's disgusting. They're rats, not mice. I'm so sorry. Pinky in the Brain.
And that's the thing. For people like this guy,
this.
all lives matter, including the unborn. But if they grow up to be LGBTQ, then their murders will be
Sometimes your skull's got to be
celebrated.
crushed if you're gay, because God fucked up, I guess.
Right. You got to
Truly,
celebrate their murders in the name of Jesus.
How is people applauded for that?
Yeah. How shitty are the Christians in Oklahoma that this guy lumps all these people together, calls them filth, and then they applaud for it, except for the couple of ladies clearly listening
I
to that.
really enjoyed the
near
running
the recorder.
Truly, when she said, "No, you're not, Tom," that was my heart transporting into that woman because that's my favorite thing to do.
I wish I would tell you that the audience got up, walked away, and they left the
like
political
some people
party.
kind of shuffled around.
Some maybe, but a lot of them
We don't have
clapped
video
for
of
it. There was no video that I could find, just audio. But
I thought I heard this is, it's so stupid to analyze audio. It sounded like people were like harumphing in the background.
a few near the recorder, because the lady who asked the question, I assume someone near her was recording it.
Harumph.
You can't expect any of these people to take the moral high road when their churches ingrain upon them exactly what Tom Woods said. You can't expect conservative Christian leaders in Oklahoma to speak out against him or his hateful rhetoric. I have yet to read any articles where some prominent pastors said, that's awful, I strongly oppose everything he just said, that's despicable.
How can a person
they didn't do that.
say that? How can a person call a human being filth in the year 2024? How do you
Conservative
not know?
Christian
How
Oklahoma.
do you not know the power of your words and how it kills
So
people?
a reporter later came up to Tom Woods and said, maybe you misspoke. Let me give you a chance to clarify your comments.
When you say filth, what you mean is...
Right. And here's what he said. I support my constituency, and like I said, we're a Christian state, and we are tired of having that shoved down our throat at every turn. I'll let my words speak for themselves, but that is my statement, and I stand behind it, and I stand behind the Republican Party values, and that is my statement.
Republicans are cool.
What is being shoved down his throat? Jokes aside, what's being shoved down his throat?
Listen,
it's the existence of LGBTQ people. Max Benedict didn't do anything to bother him.
My mother-in-law's 80-ish-year-old sister today just posted something like, in the 40s, men lied about their age so they could fight in World War II. In 2023, they lie about their gender so they can win sports. It's this sort of innocuous... the way they phrase it is this. I have been just sitting and thinking about how I'm going to respond to that. By the way, I don't know what to say, but just sitting and these sort of it's what this is these hypothetical stories. It's one or two actual stories, like the swimmer, and then it's just sort of extrapolating. Oh, this is probably happening everywhere. Oh, boys are constantly doing this. And
there are furries in the classroom, and they need litter boxes.
Kids are identifying as whatever they want. Why can't it's not?
Right.
It's not happening, and.
But if there's one thing conservative Christians like, it's being told a myth and then world building around it.
Truly, that's the problem, is that they are willing to get swept up in this non-issue.
And I want to repeat, this is a non-issue. He's not referring to something a trans person or gay person did.
What is the
he is
filth
mad
that he's
about
doing?
the existence of them at all.
He is more obsessed that queer people exist in Oklahoma than he is mad that a murder was committed in a school. He didn't sound that upset about that.
And imagine being a Christian in Oklahoma and thinking you're the victim of persecution in the wake of an alleged murder of a teen who didn't fit some mold that
What
you
were you
created.
saying about brain drain from West Virginia? What do you mean? I don't know
they're
why
not-
that would
They're
happen.
not going to Oklahoma either. The values that he says he's upholding as a Christian, as a Republican, as a conservative are not values. It's just barbarism. It's cruelty. People like him want
It's cruelty for its own sake.
people like him want the religious majority to demonize every minority, pick the flavor in the state. And by the way, not a single Republican at that meeting had the guts to criticize Wood's comments, probably because they all fundamentally
Yeah, they agree with
him.
him. Why would they criticize
Yeah,
it?
this is the state where a Christian nationalist like Ryan Walters oversees public schools. He uses his power to promote Christian nationalism, all while appointing that right-wing hate monger who runs Libs of TikTok to an educational advisory board in the state. She doesn't.
forgot about Libs
She
of
doesn't
TikTok.
live in Oklahoma. Like, it's not surprising that the GOP would turn their backs on a murdered teenager.
Yeah, no, none of this surprises me. This is another way that it's Christian nationalism down to the bone, right? It is
Yeah.
if you are not a white Christian straight person, then you are not
Male.
safe, probably male. Then you're not a protected class in this state. Sucks to suck.
Yeah.
Have fun in like
I had to
fucking
look
Texas
this up.
or whatever.
I'm like, where did this guy come from? He was elected in 2022 to the state Senate. So recently, this is his first term. And in
a
fact,
post-Trump Republican.
he was
Yum.
He was involved in an altercation when he allegedly punched a woman in the eye shortly after winning his primary. That was an article about
Sorry,
this guy.
why did he punch? Not that it
Doesn't
matters.
matter.
He punched a woman in the eye
After winning the primary.
after winning the primary.
Yeah, just to celebrate, I guess. The Oklahoma Republican
how I
Party
celebrate things.
also hasn't said a damn thing about his comments, but you know what they
'Cause
did
they
post on
agree.
Facebook? You know what they did post on Facebook?
Tell me.
Bible verse.
Oh, which one?
It's a one out of Matthew.
Like that means fucking
It means
shit
nothing.
to me.
Don't worry, the Bible verse didn't
Does it-
mean anything either.
Okay.
Like, give it time. They will probably at some point post an image of a tally mark to celebrate the death of another kid they
mean-
didn't give a damn about.
Is it?
Maybe churches will do that too because their faith teaches you to love everybody except for these people that they really hate.
Like, is it an element of bread and circuses? Is it an element of like, if you are focused on the villains, capital V villains, which are queer people, you won't notice that our educational system is failing and like price gouging is out of control from corporations and forcing everybody's cost of living way up
Yeah,
without.
I mean, if you're asking
like,
what do they think they're fixing by doing any of this, the answer is no, they don't. They don't have any actual problems, so they just pick on groups that they think everyone will get on board hating.
I know this is really on the nose, but it just makes me really sad that this is how such a huge faction of the country lives their life, is like mad at an invisible villain or
While
or at
worshiping
the-
a different one.
Right. Or we're like being terrified of the devil around every corner.
Yeah.
As if assigning like
I know someone in my life who is running for a low-level, like, elected position.
is it me?
Yes, it's you.
Congratulations, Jessica.
Good job. But running for a basically non-political office, but really it's like, it's not city council, but it's similar to that in a small community where being one party or the other doesn't make a huge difference because you're dealing with roads and shit like that. Running as a Republican. And it's like,
Excuse me?
yeah. And that's the thought. I'm like, all right, well,
So
I
you
don't
meant-
even live in your area, so I couldn't vote for you. But also,
Never.
I don't care if I think you're fine and I don't think you're extreme. The fact that you still identify as a Republican these days makes me, I think less of you now.
Truly, because what it means to, if somebody says they're a Republican, whatever kind of justification they want to give on whatever, all I think in my head is you do not care about women or
humans.
minorities or queer people.
Yeah.
And
Fetuses,
Fetuses
yes.
is very important. Cannot emphasize fetuses more.
Yes. But living people, no.
No, I think I know this is such a like black and white way to think, but truly if somebody still identifies as a Republican, I'm like, okay, so you're a bad person.
You're broken.
You're a broken person. Does that make me bad or judgmental?
Yes, and it's justified.
Okay.
But I'm the same.
I mean, truly, like, who cares? I don't care if it makes me a bad person. All of these other people are terrible people constantly. In my heart, if I silently judge somebody for being Republican, even if I do that to every person I ever meet, it's not nearly as bad as looking at a queer kid getting murdered and being like, yeah, gay people suck, don't they?
Right. Filth.
I hate this. I hate that I'm worried about how I come across when these are the people we're up against.
The people with no self-reflection.
Absolutely
ability.
none. And it makes me just triple down on like, I need to be perfect, which I'm weirdly falling short of. Can you believe it? Reviews.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Between coaching, dealing with kids, and immersing myself in the news, one thing is clear. I feel like I never have any time for myself. What would you do with an extra hour in your day? Can you even imagine that? Well, if you know what's important to you, you can prioritize. And therapy can help you learn how to do that. Talking about what matters to you with a professional is such a useful way to understand yourself better so you can make the most of your time. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can help you make the most of your time no matter where you're starting from. Whether you've been through something rough or just want an outsider's perspective on whatever you're going through, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and flexible enough for anyone's schedule. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/atheist today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/atheist. Let's go to California. This is at least less lower stakes somehow, but still disturbing.
Oh, boy.
Last week, we talked about Jack Hibbs, who is basically a hate preacher from California. He made headlines because at the end of January, almost literally a month ago, he gave an invocation to open up a session of Congress in the House. Mike Johnson, the speaker, invited him to speak there. And the reason people were upset about it, and we discussed this last week,
he's a fucking hack.
Is, he has said, among other things, the Biden administration is pure, Christless, godless evil. Which is a compliment. He says,
say again?
Christless, godless, evil.
Okay.
He says Kamala Harris isn't really a Christian.
Those are my favorite, because she's brown?
I think because she's Baptist. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Black Baptist. So, they don't count those.
Okay.
And then he said sin is deadlier than COVID, therefore we don't have to worry about COVID. That's what he did during the pandemic.
That's provably false.
And last week
Because I'll tell you what, my dude, I sin a whole fucking lot, and I got COVID, and neither killed me.
The reason we talked about it last week is because several members of Congress, led by Jared Huffman, they spoke out against the selection. They wanted to know why the chaplaincy office in the House would allow someone like him to speak, because he would fail any basic vetting. And also, they've excluded other people who passed all their rules, but they were an atheist on paper, and they said no to them. What's going on there? Anyway, he responded, Jack Hibbs, last Sunday.
The speaker.
Jack Hibbs, the pastor, he responded to that letter that the Democrats sent to the office of the chaplaincy on Sunday at church. He was reacting to it. He was speaking...
Like open letter style?
Yeah. He was talking to his congregation at Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills in California. And in the middle of responding to this letter, before telling them about the letter, he also wanted them to know at the beginning of the service, I want to tell you who you should vote for. So I'm not actually going to talk about his response to the letter, because that's almost less interesting.
Interesting.
I take that back. Before you put on your headphones, before I play you this endorsement thing, at the very end of his sermon, he does a little PowerPoint where he shows everyone the letter. And he spent part of that section of his sermon pretending to be persecuted, saying, you guys, I may not be able to fly to Washington, D.C. anymore because I think they put me on a no-fly list.
I don't think they did.
That's not what they did.
Why do they love to be persecuted so
Why did they
much?
love to lie about it? And then he says, and I'm quoting here, I didn't know that I helped start the January 6th riot. Did you know that? I didn't know that. That's not what the letter said. Then he goes on to say, I didn't know I hate Muslims. Found out that I do. From the letter, which didn't say that. Did you know I hate Jews? I didn't know that. Did you know that I hate LGBT? No, he said LBGTQ LMNOP. Yeah, that was the thing he actually
Wow,
said.
that was really funny in 2011.
Hilarious. So, like, he didn't read them the actual letter. He just said, you guys, they accused me of all this stuff, lying about me. Just to be clear, they did not say he started the insurrection. The letter said, here's what Jack Hibbs once said regarding the insurrection. He said, quote, this is what you get when you eject God from the courts and from the schools. That's all it said about January 6th. What did he say about Muslims? Well, he didn't talk about Muslims, but the letter did quote him saying of Islam that Islam was a, quote, demonic doctrine being propagated by heretics. What about Jewish people? Because he's like, did you know I hate Jews? No, the letter didn't say he hates Jews. The letters quoted him saying Israel could avoid the wrath of Hamas if they just turned to Jesus. That's what they quoted him as saying in the letter. And about gay people and trans people, what he said is he once claimed that, quote, if evolution is true, then there would be no such thing as homosexuality. He blamed the existence of trans people on, quote, demonism. He said God's judgment on us was evidenced through LGBTQ characters on the show Blue's Clues. They quoted him doing all this and said, why would you let him give an invocation? Jack Hibbs doesn't tell people what he said. He's like, you guys, they're pretending I hate Jews and Muslims. You guys know me. You know I don't do that.
So the 9th commandment is you shall not give false witness against your neighbor.
Yeah, so don't lie.
So
unless...
I guess I am wondering why
I'm sorry,
they're...
did you read the asterisk that comes after that?
I guess I'm wondering why they're so obsessed with putting the 10 commandments everywhere if they don't even follow them.
He then told the congregation that the consequence of the letter would be, you guys, the IRS is totally going to investigate me.
Well, no, it's probably mostly because you're breaking the Johnson Amendment right now.
We'll get back to that in a second, but it's like, yeah, they're not going to investigate you because you're a horrible human. The IRS doesn't do that. He also then went on to say, I want you all to know I haven't watched any adult content since June 19th, 1977, which...
Excuse me?
Which I was not asking, but thank you for sharing, I guess. I didn't know that was a date you record.
I need to know everything about that day.
Do you?
I bet it was a porn mag, like an old school porn mag with like the fold outs.
And apparently he's documenting.
And you said 1977?
Yeah.
That's almost 50 years ago.
Yes, he wants you to know he hasn't watched any porn since then. Which had nothing to do with the letter. He just volunteered that information.
Should I be talking more about my porn consumption or lack of it? Because I feel like I've heard more about porn from these creepos in the pulpit than I ever have before. Like, I don't care if you watch porn.
I gotta say, I won't believe that he's telling the truth about this until his accountability partner can attest to it.
What? Okay. So...
I want to be very clear. This is not the story I wanted to tell you.
You're kidding me.
We're not there yet. I'm going to rewind in a second.
All right. I'll be done being mad about that. But I just want to, truly, these people are so... they're so obsessed with what happens in other people's bedrooms that they assume everyone cares about what happens in theirs. And guess what?
No one was asking.
I do not want to hear about your boring missionary sex. I don't care. I don't care if you're into BDSM. I don't care if you're an adult baby or whatever. Just
do your thing. Don't hurt anybody else.
Do your thing in your home. And that's it.
That's it. So anyway, that's at the end of the sermon when he's complaining about the letter. But at the beginning of the sermon, which I saw on the Facebook live stream, but actually I want you to know that on the YouTube version of this that they posted, they cut this next part out.
So it's that bad?
So that's that bad.
So even they know it's bad.
Even they knew it's bad. So he spent several minutes before the, quote, official sermon began, basically urging his congregation to pray for a handful of people. This is why they can this is why they could say, well, we didn't include it in the sermon because it wasn't part of the sermon. This is just him saying, I need you to pray for the following people.
From the pulpit.
Right. And he's saying, I need you to pray for these 2 school board candidates. Bring them up on stage. These are 2 sitting school board members running for re-election in Orange County, I believe. He also then
we're in Orange County.
Said he talked about Donald Trump, and he said, man, they keep coming after him with all these lawsuits, and Trump keeps winning.
But he doesn't, and he hasn't, and he owes a lot of money.
So he downplayed all the legal battles that Trump is facing.
More lying.
He claimed that the real Democratic ticket come November will not be Biden and Harris. It'll be Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom.
Why do they... Gavin Newsom?
I mean, Gavin
Why?
Newsom explicitly has said, no, I'm not running.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama has said over and over, I hate politics and I want nothing to do
Why
with it
do
ever.
they think... I feel like I hear that all the time. It's Michelle Obama. Is it because they have like a hangover from Hillary Clinton and assume that all women are like
think
using
they-
their husband to leverage into politics or something? Which, to be clear, Hillary was not.
They are obsessed with Michelle Obama because they really do think she's like a hidden danger. Then one day she'll be trotted out. And also they worry because she's actually popular and likable. Anyway, he says all of this.
Oh, boy.
Then he tells the crowd the only thing that matters when it comes to voting is voting for the pro-life candidates. And to that end, this is when he starts talking about the upcoming Senate election in California, because there is one. And if you're not familiar with what's going on in that race, the primary in California is taking place over the next, I think it's next week. It's like March 5th or something. But the Senate primary is coming up. And California does this thing where it doesn't matter what party you're all on the same ballot. So right now, the people running for Senate include Adam Schiff, who a Democrat who has been very outspoken.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great. He was part of the impeachment battle against Donald Trump. You also have Representative Katie Porter, who's running.
all-timer.
With the whiteboard. She's great. You also have Representative Barbara Lee, who's running as a Democrat.
don't
She's
know her.
the only person after 2001, after September 11th, who voted not to give the president the power to like go invade
Holy
Iraq.
shit. She's like fucking Cassandra over
She's
here.
amazing. So like you have those three Democrats running in the primary, and you have one Republican whose name is Steve Garvey. Steve Garvey used to play for the LA Dodgers and San Diego Padres.
Oh.
And now he's pulling like a Herschel Walker. He's like, I'm an
Yeah.
athlete. You've heard of me. You love me.
Yeah.
So vote for me.
I will say that the possibility of CTE with baseball is somewhat less than football, but what
Right.
do I know?
So again, California holds this like jungle
His
primary.
brain might
it's
not be
called.
soup, is what I'm saying.
So where the way the primary works is the top two finishers move on to the November ballot. And if they're from the same party, so be it.
Right.
And so right now, Adam Schiff is in the lead of everybody. The question is, who's in second place?
It's Katie Porter.
Will it be Katie Porter or will it be Steve Garvey? And right now, Garvey has a slight edge over Katie Porter. And if enough Democrats split their votes that way, because you like them for different reasons,
Sure.
Garvey could end up with the second spot. And the Democrat would still win the Senate race.
Right.
But the question is, will a Republican be on the ballot at all?
Right.
Because if he's not on there, it kind of
Rules?
gives
Owens bones?
it gives Republicans less of a reason to vote in November because they think,
Oh.
well, Trump's not going to win California,
No.
and I don't even have a senator to vote for.
vote for.
So maybe I shouldn't even vote. Like that would be fantastic if
That
they
would be
decided
outstanding. Boy, there's an embarrassment of riches of politicians over there, eh?
That's the setup in California right now. The open question in the Senate primary is, will Republican Steve Garvey make it through the primary to be on the ballot?
Wow.
And to that end, here is what Jack Hibbs said to his congregation from the pulpit. And
In the OC?
yeah. And I want to be clear. The reason this is an issue is not just that he's going to tell them how to vote. It's how he knows he's not allowed to tell them he can't, like, he knows he can't actually tell them how to vote. Okay?
Okay.
So here's that segment.
How are you voting regarding our upcoming local vote?
Yes, go on.
I want to publicly right now today encourage all of you to vote for Steve Garvey.
I don't think you can do that, sir.
You got to vote for Steve Garvey. It's against the law for me to, I just remember, it's against the law for
Just
me
remembered.
to say that in the pulpit. So
He's now stepping in front of the pulpit.
as a public citizen,
I just
Steve Garvey is not only one of the greatest baseball players of all time,
No.
but we want Steve Garvey to represent us in the Senate, and so Steve Garvey is the only guy on the ballot. So there.
Now he
that
moves
was
behind the
I
pulpit.
just had to move from here to there as a private citizen, and anyway, Romans chapter 8.
So he said that
I'm
endorsement.
just looking up Steve Garvey's
Sure.
stats because there's no fucking way anybody thinks he's
So-
the best baseball player in the world.
Jack Hibbs was standing like behind a little podium And then he steps in front of the podium. Mind you, the mic is attached to his lapel. None of this matters, the location of where he says this. There's no actual physical pulpit that you can only do pastor things in this box. But if you step 1 foot to the left or right, then it's okay to say whatever the hell you want. That's not how it works. He knows that. That's the thing that caught me about this clip. It's not just that he's making an endorsement. It's that he knows he's not allowed to make an endorsement. So he's like, you guys, look, if I stand over here, I can make the endorsement now.
So Garvey won the National League MVP award in 74.
First of all, it's the National League. Anyone can win the National League MVP.
First of all, you're not coming for the National League on our podcast right now. We are National League people. Designated hitter is bullshit. Are you out of your mind?
I can play for the Brewers. Come on.
And he won National League Championship Series MVP in 78 and won a World Series with the Dodgers in 81.
They didn't even have statistics. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so what Hibbs did, that's actually...
His numbers retired. That's pretty good. For the Padres.
For the Padres. Like, okay, Tony
that was
Gwynn
Sports
and that
Corner
guy.
with the friendly atheist.
What Hibbs did, that is actually, truly an IRS violation.
100%.
It's also telling that their sermon that was posted on YouTube happened 3 seconds after that. But like, to be clear, the IRS should revoke the tax-exempt status of Calvary Chapel Chino Hills, since it clearly is a political organization that runs a book club on the side.
And why are they baiting? That's my real question. Why are they baiting the IRS?
Evangelicals love baiting the IRS by endorsing candidates, and the reason is they think if the IRS actually revoked their tax-exempt status over any of this, they could file a lawsuit calling it religious persecution. How dare the government tell me in my church what I can and cannot say?
And with the Supreme Court.
And with the Supreme Court, maybe they could get away with it. So they're baiting
that's grim.
the IRS. Yeah. So the thing is, even without the Supreme Court being what it is, the fact is the IRS really, even though it has a rule that says no nonprofit, whether it's a church or like Planned Parenthood, no nonprofit can endorse a candidate. You can tell people on the issues that matter to us, here's how every candidate stands.
So when you see things like the NRA gave me an X grade, that's how they're getting around that.
Right.
So the NRA is not
totally allowed to do
endorsing
that.
anybody. They're just saying, by our standards of candidacy,
and that's why
this
you
is how
see,
these people fall.
That's why you see political candidates, they do not say the NRA endorsed me.
I
they
got
say
an X
I
with
got
NRA.
an A from the NRA if that thing matters to them. But again, as a Texas Tribune and ProPublica article in 2022 noted, the IRS does not do a damn thing to enforce the Johnson Amendment.
Well, they've been gutted.
Over the past 70 years, 70 years, they have literally only punished 2 churches for violating these rules. And they were kind of small cases to begin with. They were just so blatant.
Sure.
Like, we put an ad in the paper saying, we're a church. We endorse this candidate.
I, the church, endorse this person.
But 2
Love
churches,
the Johnson Amendment.
even though there's so much evidence like this of Hibbs doing this sort of thing and so many other pastors doing this sort of blatant baiting, and they just haven't done it. The FFRF sent a letter to IRS officials, by the way, this week saying, hey, IRS. Guys, and by the way, FFRF filed a lawsuit against the IRS for not doing their job.
Wow.
That case was settled out of court years ago. And
I don't want it settled out of court. I want you to go to court.
The IRS said, dismiss this lawsuit. We are taking this issue seriously. We will enforce our rules. And at that point, there's nothing more you can ask for because that is all you were asking for.
Right.
So that was the end of it. But yesterday, was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Or 2 days
Wednesday?
ago, this week, the FFRF sent a letter to IRS officials saying, we're a registered 501c3, a nonprofit, and we take this designation along with the accompanying privileges and responsibilities very seriously. Some churches, like Calvary Chapel Chino Hills, have chosen to make a mockery of their 501c3 status by reaping all the benefits of tax exemption while knowingly violating this statute by openly endorsing political candidates running for public office. We write to respectfully request that the IRS immediately investigate this church and ensure it doesn't have the benefits of tax-exempt status, and that donations made to the church are no longer treated as tax deductible, which is the real consequence.
Is there a word for when somebody smarter than you articulates something you've been thinking really well and you never could have done it on your own? That's how I feel right now.
It's just called being us.
Yeah.
Yes. So the thing, and by the way,
That was very
Congressman
hurtful and true.
Jared Huffman also urged the IRS to look into the matter just via a tweet. But like the thing is, nothing will come of it, is my fear. And if the IRS doesn't act, Hibbs isn't going to stop doing stuff like this. And I know this because he's done it before. In 2018, the church allowed political campaign signs like right outside their doors. You know how all the rules for campaign signs say like
15 feet.
15 feet away from the door, even if you're at a campaign,
Yeah.
like at a voting booth,
Yeah.
voting poll
Especially
place.
if you're at a polling
At a polling
place.
place. Yeah, like, no, the church is like, yeah, do it on our front door. It's fine.
Just paint it on there.
In 2021, Hibbs practically held a campaign rally for Larry Elder in his church. And at the time in 2021, they were trying to recall Gavin Newsom as governor.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, there were two questions on the ballot. Should Gavin Newsom be recalled? Second question is, if he is recalled, who should replace him?
Is that how that works?
Yes. Larry Elder was the Republican who got the most votes for the replacement.
Really?
However, 60% plus of voters said, no, don't recall our guy. He's
Sure.
fine. This is a hack. Like, you're just coming after him. So they didn't replace him, which made the whole question moot. But Jack Hibbs, when that was going on, said, this is our guy. It's Larry Elder. I want you to vote for him and for the recall.
Well-
and he brought him on stage for a sermon.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About the Johnson Amendment. If this guy was going to rallies,
Who? Hibbs?
Gibbs is going to
Jack Hibbs is going to
a politician's rally.
Yes.
And he stands up on stage and says, I endorse this person.
Yeah.
That's okay.
If he said, my name is Jack Hibbs,
And as a private citizen,
and
I endorse him.
Yes, that's legal.
So
if he says, I come here representing
Okay.
my church, no, you
So
can't.
we're not only seeing people like, breaking the rules, but dumb rules that they could easily not.
Oh, he's doing it on purpose.
Right, exactly.
It's not even an accident.
I just want to be clear that his political voice is not silenced.
Right,
He can
exactly.
endorse people as a private
He
citizen.
could literally go on his personal Facebook page and say, I'm voting for this guy. I hope you all do the same. That would be okay. But when you're using church resources and using the church stage to do all that, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And again, liberals take those rules seriously.
Of course we do, because we care about the rules.
Right.
Because we don't want power over anything else. We want a
want
functioning
fair.
society.
Yeah. Did you see that New York had a chance to do gerrymandering? And they're like, we'll do nothing. We'll just accept fair maps for our state.
Oh,
to
like
avoid a
Democrats
lawsuit.
didn't do gerrymandering. They're like, let's make this even and fair because
Right.
that's how.
I mean, one, to avoid a lawsuit, but two, they're like, no, we're not even going to push it.
you know what? And
Which is good, which is how it should be, but it's unilateral disarmament, which is frustrating.
that's exactly right. And I understand people's frustration with the Democratic Party in that regard and in many regards. However, I'm not.
Tony Evers did the same thing in
Wisconsin.
where he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm signing off on fair maps. It doesn't put us in the lead. It doesn't give Democrats an unfair advantage. It
Right.
just makes more competitive districts to
Right.
give all parties a chance,
Right.
which is the right thing to do. And it's what they were fighting for this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, and they don't have the numbers, even if they wanted to push a
Sure.
blue Democratic gerrymander or anything. But it's just like, I hear this in Illinois all the time, where there is a gerrymander, a blue state gerrymander, and it's fantastic. And it's every time Republicans complain about it, the obvious first question is, okay, fine.
You draw map.
Not only you draw a map, but like you want to get rid of gerrymandering everywhere then, right? And of course, no, they don't, because
Right.
gerrymandering only helps Republicans
Right.
at a national level.
Right.
So like blue states, go to town. Like gerrymander all the things you want until they learn their lesson. Anyway,
Yeah.
side note. But this isn't a one-off thing that Hibbs did. He's
Exactly.
been doing this for years. He will keep doing it unless he is punished.
Mm.
And even after he's punished, he'll just pretend he's being persecuted
Mm-hmm.
because that's what he said at the end of the sermon. He's like, they didn't like that I gave an invocation. You know what they're going to do? I think they're going to send the IRS after me. Yeah, they are. They should, but not because you gave an invocation. That's just a batshit crazy thing for them to do. They're doing it because you endorse candidates from the pulpit and you don't deserve a tax exemption.
And also that Hibbs is, never mind. I lost what I was going to say. My brain isn't firing on
It
all
is
cylinders.
okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
Let me go to a different story. The last one, I think, where I actually have a soundbite.
Oh, boy.
But this is an interesting case where a California school board member was being criticized because in her district, there's an after-school Satan club. And those are the clubs where they basically do science experiments and teach you to be friendly to each other.
Is this going to be our new nativity scene on town hall property is after-school Satan clubs?
Maybe.
I feel like 10 years ago, all we did was write about that,
Nativity
and now
scenes?
it's just going to be after-school
There
Satan
are
clubs.
literally 5 after-school
Fucking
Satan clubs.
lying to me, and we've talked about them all in depth, I guess.
Because the right-wing people flip out over it.
Oh, so this is what it feels like to feel like something's happening all over the place, even though it's just a couple stories. Oh, I know.
right.
I know how they feel now.
Yeah, right?
I feel
So-
confused and angry, and I want to vote them out.
Yeah. So to be clear, these ass clubs, they don't promote Satan. They don't promote satanic beliefs, Satanism, whatever you think Satanism is.
They really could have called it Ask, ASSK, but
They could have.
they want Ask Club.
I want Ask Club. It's funny. So, but the thing is, they don't indoctrinate. They focus on free inquiry and rationalism, the scientific basis for which we know what we know about the world around us. That's their stated mission statement right there.
Sure.
And they only show up in schools that have a Christian good news club.
Right.
Like they wait to see which schools have that, and only then
It's an antagonistic group.
it is there to say, all right, if you're allowing a Christian club in the school, then we want to play by the same rules and start our own. And it doesn't happen everywhere because there's like thousands of these good news clubs, but at a few select places, whatever. So that is what happened in the Capistrano Unified School District in California. There was a good news club at one of their elementary schools. And so an after-school Satan club launched there too. Their first meeting was on February 12th. It went well. According to the Satanic Temple's Facebook page, they posted about that meeting, that first meeting, and they said it was incredible.
Oh.
The group had fun together playing with Lego and art sets.
Fun.
The hours flew by. The kids made it clear how much they wanted to come back as soon as possible. Next meetings are scheduled for March, April, and May. It seemed cool. The pictures they showed, not with kids' faces in it, but it's like you see drawing, you see kids playing with Legos, things like that. Okay. So the thing is, just before the group had this meeting, it turns out on January 17th, there was a member of the Board of Trustees who could not handle their existence. And I'm not sure why this became news now as opposed to a month ago, but I was tipped off to this now. So I'm going to talk about it now. But on January 17th, at the Board of Trustees meeting for the district, a woman named Lisa Davis, who sits on their board, she spent several minutes complaining about the existence of this after-school Satan club. And I'm going to play for you. It is a longer clip, but I got to play it for you, what she said. This is 2 hours into the board meeting.
I thought you were about to say this is a 2-hour clip, and
No.
I was like, absolutely not.
She basically went on comparing this group that she clearly knows nothing about to the worst groups imaginable. And at the very beginning of the clip, you hear her talking about the importance of religious freedom. Right? Yeah. So let me play this clip for you. We might chime in while the clip is going on.
Trustee Davis,
Lisa Davis.
happy 2024.
Thank
I'm
you.
so excited for what this new year has to offer our students here in Capistrano Unified. Exciting
What
things
state?
are happening here.
California.
And I look forward to what lies ahead for us in the 2024 year. Yesterday was our National Religious Freedom Day.
Yes, important.
National
Religious
Freedom
freedom,
marks the
right?
I was worried about
anniversary of
that
the
because it wasn't
Virginia
covered in the
Statute
First
for
Amendment.
Religious freedom,
Mhm.
drafted in 1777 by Thomas Jefferson.
Fine.
It was a pivotal moment in our nation's history
Speaking
as
of,
a
who've been listening
visionary
to the Jefferson
document
lies.
laid the
Yeah.
foundation
Very
for the
good.
protection of religious liberties enshrined in our Constitution.
Now here she is minutes
We
later.
don't have the authority to do whatever
there's a
we
gap.
want
Yes.
as a board. Our clubs are also not set up carte blanche. We
Carte
do not
blanche.
allow 6-year-olds to run and lead a club. We would not approve Proud Boys clubs, bondage clubs,
Bondage?
guns and shooting clubs, Antifa clubs, Nazi clubs, Hitler clubs, KKK clubs, Black Magic clubs, Ouija board clubs,
What?
club safe sex clubs,
What?
or would we?
What?
I have been informed that we have a request by the After School Satan Club that they would like to open up a club in one of my elementary
She's a really
schools in
skilled
San
speaker, isn't
Clemente,
she?
because that school also has a good news or a Christian club. Under state law, we are required to have a policy to educate and everything surrounding education. However,
What?
I'm not exactly sure how a satanic club fits into all this. Here's why. First of all, can we look at a policy that simply states a club's title needs to be descriptive to the activity of the club? Seems like a simple solution. While we can be pluralistic about faith and agree to disagree on doctrinal matters, I would think that the district would not allow the formation of a KKK or a Nazi club under a sense of propriety that neither of them reflect our community values. It would not matter in the least if they were offering courses in self-worth, art, or public speaking.
Did you say self-worth?
I would think that the
Public
board would,
speaking,
rightly
LOL.
so, reject their applications
Wait for this.
out of hand.
This line.
Honestly, in my view, Nazis and KKKs are terrible, but Satanists are the worst and absolutely contrary to everything I believe and stand for.
Last part here.
Make no
Absolutely
mistake.
terrible. Didn't feel very
The
emphasized.
Satanistic group is a hate group organized with a specific purpose to mock and demon Christian beliefs. They could very easily rebrand as an open-minded group, scientific group, or even an atheist group. Choosing to brand themselves as a satanic group serves only to express hate.
Okay.
Have you ever heard the expression when when a conservative runs face first into the point and misses it anyway? Like, truly, it's kind of impressive. Of like, truly, the part of like, it doesn't have to be a Satan thing. It could be this. It can be that. Like, yeah, your Christian group could be, let's do good things in the world group. It doesn't have
Right.
to be a Christian group.
And the funny thing is, she said in our district, we have a policy to we should have a policy. She says we should adopt a policy that says a club's title should describe what it is they do.
Oh, I thought she was saying that was already a policy.
No,
I
she said,
misunderstood
can we
her.
try to adopt a policy? Because
Then what's the fucking Good News Club?
that is the question. What would the Good
Are
News
we just going to
Club
read
be?
nice headlines throughout
Yeah.
the world?
The Good News Club is the one that tells kids they'll be tortured for eternity if they don't do what Jesus wants
Which
them
one is
to
Meet
do.
Me at the Flagpole?
That's not Good News Club, but that is a Christian thing.
Okay.
It's non-denominational.
That was big in my area.
So anyway, she suggests that the Satanic Club is wrong because it doesn't tell you what they're going to do. Then she says, well, you wouldn't allow a Nazi club that teaches public speaking.
Let's be clear. She would.
And she's saying, like, if it's not doing the thing you think they're doing, you wouldn't allow it.
It doesn't say what it says on the tin.
Right. So it's, and then Nazis and KKK, she says, are terrible, but Satanists are the worst.
That was
Whoa.
That was intense for me.
By the way, I know all of you are thinking this. Nazis and KKK groups are actual Christian hate groups. And what is the thing that she thinks makes the Satanic Temple or Satanists a hate group? I just want to reiterate.
She didn't say, did she? Because it's
She
mocking.
did not. She said,
Mocking them?
I can tell you what the 7 fundamental tenets of the Satanic Temple are, because they include things like act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures. If you make a mistake, rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused. Oh, and also respect the freedom of others. Those are the values that she believes are harmful and hateful. The Satanic Temple, by the way...
In her defense, she did not read that.
No.
I want to be
she did
clear
not.
about that.
She did no research.
No, she did
She's like the
not.
kid who has to do a report for class and never read the book.
Yeah, Bart Simpson.
Yeah. So the Satanic Temple itself, and certainly the after-school Satan clubs, do not mock or demonize Christianity. They just propose an alternative. And in the case of the elementary school club, they absolutely avoid any denigration of religion. It's not about putting others down. It's about lifting up certain kids no matter where they're coming from. And unlike the Good News Clubs, there's no indoctrination, no hellfire, no threats. And to jump to all those conclusions on the basis of the word Satan without, like you said, doing any research into the things she's mad about, it just tells you how unqualified she is to do the job she volunteered to do.
Truly.
She never once explained what the After School Satan Club does or did at other schools or proposed to do at hers. It's not like it's a secret. It's just easier for her to compare that group to actual hate groups, assuming that other conservatives like her are too dumb to look into the matter.
I don't know if it's dumb. I'd say it's lazy and ignorant.
Same
Same.
end result.
Same.
By the way, plenty of Christians would argue that the existence of an atheist club would also be inherently anti-religious
Honestly,
or
that's
anti-Christian.
the other thing I wanted to say is there could be an atheist club, my dude, as if you would be okay with an
Right. She
atheist
would not
club,
be okay with
ma'am.
that. And then, by the way, she didn't just stop with that speech, because on
There's more?
February 11th, the day before the group started, she organized a prayer walk around the school using her official board trustee account.
What
She
does
posted
that
it on her
mean?
Instagram,
Oh.
where her username is like Lisa Davis CUSD. for the school district. And it's like, yeah, don't use your official board Instagram to advertise your prayer walk.
No, but she's Christian, so she can do whatever she wants. You
Then
forgot.
she shared pictures of herself creating, quote, a shield of love, protection, and God's presence around the school. And there is an actual dumb picture of all these people touching the wall of the school as if they are protecting kids from Satan. It's so embarrassing. They're just wasting their time because they have nothing to do.
Just gently touching the vinyl siding of the school and like acting real serious.
It's like touching Trump's shoulders in the Oval Office.
That's exactly what it came
Like,
to. Yeah.
You think this is helping? Because
that came to mind for me as well.
By the way, when community members complained about this breach of church-state separation on Instagram, guess what she did?
Blocked him.
Yep.
Really?
And deleted them.
Deleted the comments or deleted her post?
Deleted the comments. The posts are still up.
So embarrassing.
So Freedom from Religion Foundation attorney Chris Line wrote a letter to the board president just saying, hey, stop this shit.
Get your team in order, sir.
This is what he actually wrote because he has more tact. As government officials, they cannot be allowed to abuse their position to promote their personal religious beliefs and to denigrate members of minority religions. There's no threat of a lawsuit. There's just a simple request to follow the law and keep your ignorance in line whenever she wants to spread her bigotry.
To loosely quote George Carlin, can these people just follow the commandment of don't be a dick for fucking once?
By the way, I looked into Lisa Davis as well. She was elected to the board in 2020, and she beat her opponent in a school board race, so only like 4 people voted. She beat her opponent by 2%.
Yikes. So a person and a half, probably.
Yeah, like... Elections matter, people. Local elections matter. Vote, run for anything.
Hey.
Run for anything if you're not a...
Hey, if you're listening to this, you should run. Christina's running. She listens to this.
Christiana, yeah.
Christiana,
She is
sorry,
fantastic.
I
She's
only see
running.
her name
I'm going to
printed.
be doing an interview with her next week for her campaign.
Oh, I guess I missed my invitation.
It's coming. It's in the mail.
Rough
I got one
stuff. Is it because I mispronounced her name just a
That
second
is
ago?
correct.
Wow.
There's one more story for you here, which involves our buddy Sean Feucht. Remember him?
The name sounds familiar. I can't place it.
So
We have so many
talked
generic
about
white
this.
dude names on this podcast. I can't possibly keep them straight.
I know.
Everybody's
yes.
name is David or Ryan or John.
My favorite thing about Mitch McConnell saying he's going to step down. No, he's still there. He's still horrible. But
Of course he is, but he's going away.
There are literally 3 guys in the running to take a spot as Senate Minority Leader, and they're all named John.
You're lying to me.
It's so funny.
Oh, the
Anyway.
Republican Party is so diverse and representative
Yeah.
of the country.
So anyway, we talked about Sean Feucht months ago because...
My dad's name is John, and my husband's dad's name is John, and my
Fair.
brother and husband, middle names, both John.
Are you people by any chance Hawaiian?
Can you believe it?
Yeah, okay.
I know.
So months ago, we talked about Sean Feucht because the mayor
Feucht.
of Spokane, Washington, attended an event with Sean Feucht, who is a Christian nationalist, and a literal domestic terrorist by the name of Matt Shea, who used to be in the state legislature.
I do remember this now. Okay.
And then the city council in Spokane, after the mayor spoke at that event with those 2 guys, the city council passed a resolution condemning the mayor for associating with those 2 guys, which was kind of a big deal for them.
Really was.
Saying, we don't support this. We don't want you to do this.
Not
It's
cool, they said.
Horrible. I'm not going to get into all their backstory, but the point is they passed a resolution condemning the mayor for being with them. And the reason I bring that up is she lost her bid for re-election in November, this mayor, after all this happened. Now, it was a tight race. Did she lose because of her association with
Republican?
those guys? It's a non-political position or non-partisan
interesting.
Race, but she lost. And I think that controversy could have tipped the scales against her.
Yeah,
but
it's
now,
like associating with white nationalists is cool.
I could be wrong about that partisan thing. I don't know.
Okay.
But the thing is, she's no longer in office, and that resolution condemning her is months old. But Sean Feucht, I think, really wants attention again.
Sure.
Because he always wants attention. So he's now threatening to sue the city. Sean Feucht, according to an outlet called The Inlander, it's saying Sean Feucht is claiming the city owes him money. On January 18th, he filed a claim for damages, alleging that the 4 council members who voted for that resolution, quote, acted under the color of law to reprieve Feucht of his federally guaranteed First Amendment and 14th Amendment rights, privileges, and immunities.
Which one's 14?
Not the one that applies to Sean Feucht is what. Basically, Feucht's allegation is that by speaking on behalf of the government and elected leaders of Spokane, that resolution...
state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States.
Yeah, no one took away his rights.
I don't think so.
But basically he's saying this resolution says if you gather with me or anyone who believes, prays, or worships like me, they will be condemned by the city.
Yeah, you're right.
Which
you got
is
it.
a dumb thing to say because the resolution did not say we're mad at the mayor for associating with Christians.
Right.
No, it's because it's you and you're a horrible person who happens to be Christian. Elected officials, to be clear, will never be punished in Spokane for practicing a faith, praying, or worshiping the Christian God. The resolution didn't say that. It didn't imply that or anything to do with it. The resolution had everything to do with two Christians who use their faith-based platforms to spread extremism and harm and cruelty. And it actually went out of its way to say that.
Yeah.
That we're not mad because they're Christians.
Right.
We're mad about these other things.
Well, it's because a lot of times Democrats are intellectually honest
Yeah.
and Republicans are not.
For that resolution, Sean Feucht was described in that resolution, not as a Christian, because it was irrelevant. He was described as an anti-LGBTQ extremist, which is fair because that's what he is. He says things like children are being sexualized by Disney. They're not. He says society could not allow perverts to indoctrinate them starting at 4 years old in kindergarten with transgenderism. That's
Hold
what
on,
Sean
that was
Feucht
word
said.
salad that you just said. I just heard like a lot of...
He said schools are allowing
phrases.
perverts to indoctrinate kids as young as 4 with transgenderism, which is not true and not how it works and not the right word. He also falsely equated
0 out of 3.
Yeah, he also falsely equated homosexuality and transgender identities with pedophilia. And Sean Feucht backs conversion torture.
gonna go ahead
this is
and
why
look
they called him
into-
anti-LGBTQ. He also was quoted in the resolution as calling for a fire that would consume Spokane in the midst of wildfires hitting the state.
Cool.
They were also called out, him and Matt Shea were called out for their hateful and dangerous behavior and beliefs, not their faith, but how they're using their faith to hurt people. Those are not the same. The fact that Sean Feucht can't tell the difference says more about him than the city council. But the city, according to that media outlet, was taking his claim seriously enough that they set aside $50,000 for lawyers to handle the case. They've also been instructed to retain any public communication involving the resolutions as if they secretly pass messages to each other bashing Jesus. Like, I don't know what Discovery's going to find in this case. But as far as I could tell, from the lawyers representing Feucht, no formal lawsuit has actually been filed yet.
Got you.
Like, this guy is all talk, no action. I think he likes saying there's a threat of a lawsuit than actually filing one that he would lose.
Because that's not a concrete thing. That's a general, there's a malaise of
it's
people
like
coming down
Christians
on
talking about the devil. It doesn't exist, but the threat that one might be there is all we need to scare you. Sean Feucht works the same way. I'm not going to sue you because I know I'm going to lose, but I'm going to tell you I'm going to sue you because maybe that'll scare you a bit into ever criticizing me ever again.
Do you want to take a swing at what gender perpetrates the most pedophilic shit?
Gender?
Gender.
Is it men?
It's men. At 94% are men. I'm just going to go ahead and keep looking and seeing what
you
the... Anyway,
And
just
that's all
my
I
point
got?
is like the people who are perpetrating pedophilia, like these people are constantly harping about, are not gay people. They're not women.
Right.
They're not drag
It's like
queens.
straight white guys.
It's straight white guys with
And
power.
Pastors are the ones saying we need to stop all this horrible actions against children, and then every headline ever is like, here's a pastor who just got arrested.
I know I've mentioned this before, but I think it's worth bringing up pretty frequently, is that maybe a year ago now, I sent Hammett a story about some youth pastor who got convicted of molesting children. He sent it to Hammett. He was like, oh, so many of these happen, I just don't cover them anymore.
That is still correct.
And I don't know. That just
There's
to me...
too many every day. if I had a Google alert for pastor arrested, it would be overrun with stuff and I couldn't get to all of it. So I stopped.
So, yeah, that explains that, I guess. Yeah.
And that's my end of the good news for the day.
That was rough, my friend.
You're
that was a
welcome.
tough one.
You can go to patreon.com
Jesus
/ Friendly Atheist Podcast
Christ.
to support this show full of good news and happiness and rainbows and puppies and sprinkles.
Yeah, and donate. Maybe I can keep my house.
Yay!
On the bonus episode.
What are we talking about?
So on Tuesday night, Chicago had a cuckoo bananas storm.
We're talking about the weather and the bonus?
No, we're not. But just the fact that there were tornado watches. Excuse me. Yeah, we are gonna, because there's tornado watches in fucking February, my dude. It went from 70 degrees to 21 degrees in like 12 hours. So yeah, we're gonna talk about the fucking weather, Hennant. Anyway, when the tornado siren went off, we moved downstairs and decided to watch a scary movie, because I like to watch scary movies when it's raining. Watched a movie called Cobwebs I'd like to talk about. And also, I and possibly my husband are going to be in Bloomington, Indiana in like 3 weeks, March 23rd, I think. So I'll talk about that a little bit. And I don't know, I'm sure I'll talk about my misadventures and bad luck as well.
Bad luck.
Bad luck,
Got
just
it.
writ large.
All right.
You can leave
Yes.
us a review on iTunes or whatever. You can leave a review read that one last week.
Leave us some reviews so we have stuff to read and make them be good ones or
Yeah,
else.
no new ones. So who cares?
All right, we'll see you next week.
Bye.